Okay, guys. Good evening and welcome to today's class. We're going to start now so that I think we are already that full in this class. So I'll share my screen now so you can get to work. How to share this screen. No. So can you see my screen? Can you see these Starklings? Please, you people should respond. I don't know if there's time, Sha. Okay, yeah. So
Yes,
sorry
Chief, yes,
if
please.
you can message me, but I'll get back to you. Yeah, so let's start. Let's start from where we stopped last. So this is options two. So the issue that is having compilation errors. So we need the button. So let's check. Okay, see what they told us to do here. Use the sum and the sum methods to check if optional target contains the value. Place the assertion and the print statement below in the correct blocks. So yeah, now they want us to check because this option, it holds a value that either exists or does not exist. If it exists, it's sum. It returns a sum and the value. And how you get this value is by unwrapping it. But if it does not exist, it returns an option of none. So when going through scenarios now using this option type, maybe in your contracts or your program, you have to check. You cannot just unwrap it. If you unwrap, you cannot unwrap a non-value. Only unwrap a some value. So you have to check before you unwrap now, you have to check if that option is some. Now see if this option target now is none. Unwrapping it now will throw an error. Because now this simple option that they are calling it here, and they are going to put this optional none inside this function. Here is going to throw an error. So you have to assert if this thing is some, you assert the unwrapped version. Yeah. So you're going to use either if and else statements. So let's say if optional targets is some, you assert this. Else you print that is none, is empty. So I think this should work. Wow. Yeah, it worked. So I don't know if I have any questions on this, you can ask. Okay. Sharp. Now let's go to the next one. Now this also has compilation errors. So let's check. Say don't mind running these lines. They are required when running recursive functions. Uh, now this is what they need from us. Modify the following line so that there is a grid for the course. Modify the following line so that if there's a grid for the course, it is printed. Otherwise, print no grid. Yeah. So what else do you have here? Nothing. So now, like I said, we are going through this function now. And here it takes out the student courses at this index. It unwraps it, it brings out the course. A course of, yeah, it takes out the course out of the array from that index. So now this course now contains values of options, optional values, yes. An optional value now, this course now, at that index can be option but none. You should know that. An array now, I think the array fills all the values now with the default value, and the default value for option now is option dot none. So when we are going to check at any index now, we have to check if it's sum. If it's sum, we're going to unwrap it. Else, we're going to print no grade. Yeah, so I think this display grades. Yeah, so let's check. Display grades. Uh, yep, it works. So to the next, any, okay, no, okay, Victor, you have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so fire on.
Yeah. GM, good evening. So, sorry for taking back a bit, but I missed the class yesterday. But while watching the recording on YouTube, so I was looking to like find a way or like find a piece where like you explain this Starkling apps you get. So my question now is this Starkling apps a place to learn? Like, is it like a web app that teaches you about Cairo basics, or is it like a code base where you write your smart contracts? Because I'm a bit lost understanding how things goes there. Because coming there already and you are seeing text, I I don't know. Is it a place where you learn or just like a place where you take text? Because most of us here are not conversant with the the basic functions. Let me say yes, we are good with understanding JavaScript function because I'm a JavaScript developer and Python. But I think learning a new language like Cairo goes with Rust. I don't think I understand some of its syntax. So I thought it's like we'll do the syntax basic like understanding before like diving deep into it. Because just coming to the app, I'm just seeing like test, take test, and there's no like a detailed explanation for each. Maybe when you pass it, like telling you this is why you failed or this is why you passed. So that's I'm a bit confused. So that's the end of the thing. I'm just a bit confused because it's made me to go back to YouTube and um start looking for a video that teaches about the functions, how to declare a function on Cairo, and also now while watching you now, you did something like dot sum underscore stuff like that, because I don't even understand what the sum is all about, how it's been declared, how it's been determined, and stuff like that. So sorry for that, but I feel like I'm not a bit lost. I'm widely lost in this whole thing, but I'm trying to catch up though.
Okay, so I understand you, Victor, about the lost situation. So now I know that we have not taught you guys about functions and what drop and copy means. That's why in the Starknet app, I'm not even writing functions. I'm writing the functions for you. So basically, what they're going to do in the Starknet app, or what they expect you to do, is make use of all those variables. The Starknet app now, they have apps now that okay, you write your contract or this thing, then or you play around with your code. To give you an empty workspace. You type your code and play around with it. There are apps for that. I think they have the Cairo playground for it. Yeah, there is an online IDE and compiler ish. But this Starklings app now is for learning and mostly for fixing bugs. Just all the things that are there, they are buggy. They are bugs. They intentionally put bugs there. So they expect you, okay, with what you have learned, use it and fix those bugs. Although there's a part that they will enter smart contract, we are not going to enter that part because they are not learned about smart contracts yet. But in the last two classes, I think that was on Monday, I talked about, if you check the slides too, I don't know, I've not dropped the slides as a document, but if you check the slides too, you find out that all the things I've been saying now, yesterday's stack links and today's stack links, they are all in that slides, and I all explain on it and asked for questions and nobody answered. And at some point, normally I can't teach it all, you get. So at some point, when you are doing your research on your own, you might find some things are why is this, why is this? You all ask on a group chat, why is this thing? Why is it done this way? Then any of the tutors that are there now will answer you. Yes. So this Starklings app now is just a buggy piece of code they want you to fix. Okay, I say, okay, this is how to declare let y equals to this thing. That's how to declare it. I taught it in the Monday class. And when I read these Starklings now, they'll say the code is not running, it's not compiled. It's not compiling, make me compile. That is just most of the tasks there, make me compile. You don't need to know how to write a function. What they need for you is just to fix one line of code or fix two lines of code. And this about is sum or is none. I explained it yesterday's class about is sum. Yeah, you have to check if it's sum before you unwrap it. Yes. So if there are some things that I'm not explaining in the Monday class now, if it's new here, even things that I've explained before, I will explain them again that you have to check if it's sum. You unwrap it. If there's anywhere that you are confused or you don't get, you can always ask questions. But just know that that's Starklings app now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But my major question is the Starknet app the IDE for writing smart contracts, or it's just for this practical purpose, like we are just using it to like learn some stuff, how to fix buggy and stuff? Or is it like when I want to write a smart contract or deploy a smart contract, is this Starknet app I will use, or I will use, is there any other IDE except from like a dedicated IDE I could use? Not, I know I can use a Visual Studio Code, but is there any other one except that? That's what I want to like get.
Okay, like I said before this one, I said it in my last speech that if you want to write, you can go to, if you want to write your Cairo contract or want to play around with Cairo code, you have what they call the Cairo playground. You can search it on Google. You will see that it's an IDE, an internet browser-based IDE that you can play around with your code. Yes, but this Starklings app is just for your learning. to fix bugs. They just set question for you and say, okay, try and fix this bug, make me compile, that type of stuff. Then they are good to go. But there's no way you clean that whole thing and say, let it type your own code there. Because it already has a fixed answer in the back end or database. So if you type something there and click compile, it's not compile because it will tell you that that is not what is stored in it. Just like, yeah, that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, thank you
somebody
very
else
much.
raised. Okay, yeah, welcome. Somebody else raised his hand here. So you are much. 35. Somebody else raised his hand here. I think Kevin or Kate. But anyways, okay, let me go back to.
So I can't hear you. We can't hear you. Hello?
Oh, sorry. My mic was muted. Sorry. Thank you for calling my attention. So back to the app. I said that if you want the us to create an array which holds three elements of type felt 252, the first element should be 0. So now they wrote initially the question was like this. Yes, so they appended 1. Yeah, you cannot append a value to an array if the array is not mutable to throw an error. So to make the array mutable, you write the mute keyword there. And of course, I told you that the compiler infers a value. Yes. We don't know what it inferred here. It might infer a U8 value because this is 1, is a small value. Assuming we wrote something like my name, the compiler will infer that okay, this array now is an array of fields 252 because of course if your 252 now has only single quotes around it. Assuming you write a very big, maybe you write a string instead of single quote now use double quotes and say okay, my name to the fields, the array now. You now say okay, this is a byte array. Yeah, a byte array going here. But now if you are going to return this A now, the compiler will now see that okay, this function now is meant to return an array of field 252. But this array now that you created here is of a byte array. That is a string. So it will throw an error that this A now is not compatible with this return type. Yeah, I think so. If you are going to write the first value, they say the first value should be 0, but the first element should be 0. So we append 0 first. Then they say it must hold 2 elements. So you can just append any other 3. Although there's an easy way to go about this, but let's just follow this. So when you're returning this A now, the compiler will check if A is compatible with this. Yes, the compiler will infer that okay, this 0 now. Since I'm returning this A, this 0 now is of felt 252. And yes, 0, 1, and 2 are compatible with felt 252. They are all under felt. So I think this should go. Victor, you have a question to ask?
Yes. Concerning the append, is there a way like you can add all the append in one line of code, rather than a dot append 0, a dot append 1, a dot? Is there a way that you can do a append 0, 1, 2, 3 in one line of code?
Yes, I think it should be. Let's try it out. It should be possible. It passed, but let's check. So I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it works on one line.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Although there's an easier way to do it. You can use a for loop if what you're appending is very long, yeah. Or since it's just three values now, you can just do something like this. Yeah, it passed. So you can just, as you can see now, you can just put in your array, all the values you want to put. If you want to initialize it, just put it here with your three values. Instead of doing that append, you can just put all your values here. So I think that is. We go to the next question. Your task is to make the test pass without modifying the create array function. Make me compile and pass the test. Don't modify this function. So they say we should make the test pass without modifying this first function, which is the create array function. So this is remove elements from array. So do something here. Is there any array method I can use? To remove an element from our array, we can use pop front. Pop front dot unwrap. Yeah. So let's check something else. field. Yeah, it works. Sorry. So
What's the unwrap
I
thing?
thought about pop fronts. I thought about pop front in the Monday class. So if you check that slide, you know what pop front is. So basically now, what they say we should do is
No,
remove
I
an
mean
element. Sir,
the unwrap. I mean the unwrap. What's the unwrap thing?
the pop front returns an optional value. So that pop front now it returns a value that exists or does not exist. That's option. So to get out that value now, you have to unwrap it. So that's just the
Okay,
syntax. When you pop front, you have to unwrap it.
okay.
And why we can't pop only front? Because there's a trait on that pop front function called must use. You get. So sometimes when you're writing functions now, maybe in JavaScript or any other language, and the name of the function is do something, and do something returns an integer, that is returns a number. You might decide not to do anything with the number if that number is that useless. So let's say you are using that do something function in another function. You can just write do something. You don't need to write let value or let a equals to do something. When you write let a equals to do something now, do something returns an integer or a number. So once do something now does whatever thing it does in that function now, it returns the value back to a. So now you can use the value of a now inside that your function that called that do something. But of course, if you might not want to use that a, you find out okay, this a now is probably useless. Maybe that do something now changes a global variable now, or it changes some one or two. I don't know. Somebody show off the mic. Yeah, or it changes one or two things now. So you can probably write just do something, not let a equals do something. Just write do something. Yes, it returns the value, but the value is never used. But there's a trait now you might write in Cairo or Ross that you write that trait now you will derive must use in quotes to tell whoever is using the function now that the value returned from this function it has to be used. So that's why as I did that a dot pop front only, it's showing me that error that I have to use the value returned by that pop front, and that is that option value. So now I now unwrapped it. So that unwrap now it does not have any must use trait. So I can just unwrap it. Then I decide not to use the value returned from that unwrap. So that's it. Now next to this to the next question, A3. Make me compile and pass the test. Yeah, so thank God this one is not long. So they say we should change something here. Oh, we're going to modify something here too. Okay, yes. So this is what happens is that when you're appending to an array A, I told you before, this A now, as it stands at this point, is immutable. So you cannot append this to this array until you add the mutable keyword. So now this something nice is good to go. They say we should change something here, so you have changed it. Let it to be mutable. Up front or unwrap, I think it pops front, then it returns the A. It should contain 1 and 2 only. So to do, modify this method called below to make the test pass. You should not change the index accessed. So I think we should add, we should append something else, I think. Three. Yeah, it passes. Why does it pass is that my mic on, yeah. So why does it pass? Why it passes is that there's an array here. We put in three variables of index 0, 1, and 2. I'm not talking about what's inside here. Inside here can be 520. But the index is 0, 1, and 2. So when you pop front now, you pop the first index, that is 0. Then this one becomes index 0, and this one becomes index 1. Then it returns A. Now this is trying to access index 2. Index 2 does not exist. So it will throw an error here. Yeah, the compilation will throw an error here. So to make the index has 2 exist, we just appended another value so that it will be 0, 1, and 2. So that's it. Address all the to-dos to make the test pass. Right? So you have the color struct. Something goes here. To do, your struct needs to have red, green, and blue felt. All right, so let's do some red, green, and blue felt. Okay. Um, instantiate a classic color struct. Green color needs to have green set to 255, red and blue set to 0. Okay, so let green equals to color. Okay, color struct. Red 0, green 255, blue 0. It should work. Yeah, compiles. So we just create this struct, red, green, and blue. Then we just instantiate the struct. Either to create a new struct or new class, whatever it is. So you create it like this: the name of the struct, the curly braces, and the named parameters. But of course, if you have something like red equals to 0 here, let red equals to 0. Then you can just put red here. You can just put it like this. Instead of doing red equals to red, you can just write red here. You don't understand. Then you can leave the rest like this. You also have the value of let green, whatever. Yeah, you can just put just the green value here. And so on. Of course, this green should be equal to something. Okay, now this is struct 2. Address all the to-dos and make the test pass. Okay. All right. Destructure your order into multiple variables for the assertions to pass. Yeah, you as you can destructure a tuple, you can also destructure. I don't know if you can destructure an array, but you can destructure a struct, just like how you do in JavaScript. You just destructure it. So you can say we use it like this way. Let let order name year made by phone, made by mobile, made by phone, made by mobile, made by email. What else? Item number and count. Item number and count equals to the structure of this order template. Order template. So it's like the inverse of the former one. It's like the inverse. Instead of doing let order template equals to this long something here, you can do let this one equals to order template. So this order template now will be destructured into this. So I think this should work. All right, no question, right? Let's proceed. But first, let me check up on somebody. Give me a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Let's go to Structs 3. Structs contain data, but can also have logic. In this exercise, we have defined a package struct and we want to test some logic attached to it. Make the code compile and the test pass. All right. So this is the logic. So what I'm going to fix is these two functions. I don't know if you know I don't know if you know about this, but I said something. I explained this function and the traits in the last that's on Wednesday's class. So normally in your JavaScript or other languages, you have the functions inside this struct. But in Rust and Cairo, your functions will be outside the struct. But the function is what? What is this? Yeah. So now the function itself now to map this function, okay, to tell people that okay, this function now, you see this function, it belongs to this struct. You put a ref of self of the name. This self is a reserved keyword. So this ref now shows that okay, this package now will be mutable. So yeah, you should be able to mutate the values here now without any side effects. So this self now, it should be the first thing in your function. Those people writing Python, they also use self. So this self now must be this package. That will be the first thing that turns inside this function. Then any other thing can go, whatever you want to put there. Same thing as get fees, the ref of self of package. But then they're asking why this new does not have any ref of self. It cannot mutate self. You get because now you are creating a new package. So normally, if you have a package of type, you have, let's say the value of this a variable p is of type package. You create a new package of p by saying package trait colon new. Then sending all these your values here. Yeah. But then with the ones that have this ref of self, of course you can also say package trait colon then is international. Then you now put in the p ref p, yeah. But it's nicer and way cooler than just say p dot is international. Yeah, that's all. So this ref of self now of this package now makes you call p of type package. Makes you call this function as p dot is international. Yeah, also you can do p dot get fees. No need to put this package again because that is just the p there. And you can now put in the cents per gram. But you see this new function that has no ref of self. You cannot do p dot new, no. So that's the only drawback now. And you cannot do p dot new if p does not exist. You have to create p first. So since this is creating a new p, you cannot have a ref of self of type package. So you just call this function as package trait colon new. Then you send in all these parameters. So I think I've explained the trait here, and this trait keyword too is a trait. Just like saying human beings have traits. So each struct now has its own trait. I might not implement just one trait. We can have many traits for just one struct. It makes it kind of modular. You can structure it. So okay, it looks like we are all understanding meeting, right? Okay, let's continue. So now this trait now, you have the traits and they have the implementation of that is implementation. You name the name of the implementation of which tweet are you implementing. You guys can see that this tweet now it has no logic. It just exposes all the functions. Okay, these functions now are in this tweet. Assume you want to go to another file now and use this package and its functions. You import this package and you can import the traits. You don't need to import the implementation of the traits because as long as the implementation is in the same file of these traits, once you import these traits and you want to use the trait will just read from this implementation. Okay, somebody implemented me here. Let me show this user now how it be. So now we have to implement it. I have to put in logic here. So this is the new logic. This is the international logic, and these are the other logics that have ref of self of package. So the issue here now is that this is international now does not have a return value. I think this should be bool. Should be a boolean. So yeah. This is international should be boolean.
Sorry, your display is blurry.
I don't think I can do anything about this because of my network. I don't know, and I think it goes two ways. It might be your own or it might be my own. So it might, I think this is 11%. I hope YouTube resolves it. So I can just increase, let me just increase my screen. Maybe you can see it. I don't know. Maybe you can see it better. So, right, this is of type bool, and this package here is get fees, get what fees. Get fees, let's say the fees is usize. So returns in usize. So these two return types now I have to go to the implementation and write it too. So this is bool and this is usize. So do you have any tests for this? Okay, yes. So this is international now. I think if the sender country is different from the recipient country, it should be international. Yeah. So more like it goes like this. Self.sender country is not equals to self.recipient country. If it's not equals to it, it returns a true is international package. So this gets fees. That's what you have to calculate. How do we get the fees? Cents per gram. How many grams? Weight in grams. So the fee is basically, we don't want to use the U size. Yeah, but I don't know. Let's use the U size. Then it's cents per gram multiplied by self dot weight in grams. So I think it should work. Yeah, it works. It's just cooking of logic. Like I said in last class, you can access the members of this. Can access the members of this struct that is passed in as self here with self dot the member. And you can also call in another function. Let's say I want to call this get fees. So far, this I want to call this get fees from this is international function. So far, this international now has a ref of self of package, and get fee also has that same ref of self of package. I can call it self dot. So I can just do something like self dot get fee. That is me calling this function in the same script or implementation. So M1 should be move semantics. So I think this will be like a 1 hour class. We might have to round up soon after this move semantics. It's meant to be 2 hours, sorry, but as you can see, my battery is kind of low due to one or two things. Maybe during this exercise now, they might bring the light. Now, this is move semantics. Make me compile, having trouble to solve it, click hints and this thing. So all we just need to do is compile it. So, like I said, array, fill array. If fill array now, it mutates this array and returns it. So you should not have any problem of, yeah, it makes this array immutable for some reason. So when you put in an array here, you fill this array. This array has been moved, but it has been returned as array1. This is a print statement, yeah, okay. Fix the error here without modifying this line. Oh, yes. So the error here is that this array now, you cannot append any value to it if this array is not mutable. So I think it's just the mute array. Let's see if it will work out. Yep, it worked. Okay, let's go to the next one. Move semantics 2, make me compile without changing the dedicated lines. Yeah. Hope this one is not that long. Yeah, it's not long. So this is the main function. Don't change this following line. See, we shouldn't change this. Don't change this line. What? So what should we change? We should print in the R0. Oh yes, we cannot print in this. Cannot print this array because this array has been moved here. So what to do? We can. What are we going to do? We make a clone. Make a clone of this array. We can clone this array, yes. Okay, let's see. Most times, once you move something, once you pass this thing inside a function, it has been moved. What they say? The provided code does not contain let mute or the one equals to few. What? Oh, yeah. They say we shouldn't clone it. What are you meant to do? Um. Okay, you can. What did they say we should do here? Okay. Okay, this worked. That worked. We say we shouldn't change this line. We say we shouldn't change this line. We say we shouldn't change any line. That we should add our own line of code. So since this is printing array 0, and what we have is array 1, so we just have to point this array 1 back to array 0. So I think that's it. Let's go to the next one, M3. Make me compile without adding new lines. Just change existing lines. No lines with multiple semicolons necessary. I still should not add any new line. Okay. So what's the issue with this one? It works. So if you're writing a function now and you want to make anything that does this function mutable, you write the mute keyword. Why you put the mute keyword is that because we are appending values into this array here. So before it was like this. Sorry. So before it was like this without this mute keyword. For you appending any value inside this array, we throw an error. So now you have to make it mutable. And you have to get your array. So you have array 0, array 1, this, array 1. Yeah. So if you are going to throw array 0 inside here, you make the array here, go inside here immutable, append it, then return in your array. So I think that's it. Or should we take one more? Oh, now you guys still active in this class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So I think we should take one more, right? Yep. Let's take one more. Let's go to M4. Refactor this code so that instead of passing array 0 into the fill R function, the array gets created in the function itself and passed back to the main. What? Oh. So this array should be created here. It says you shouldn't take in this function again. All right. So if you are doing this fill array now, you shouldn't be using this anymore. What? Oh yeah. So why we prefix? Because we are not putting this variable inside this fill r again. So why we put it didn't try error because he said we have an unused variable here. And of course, to make the compiler to ignore this variable is to put an underscore before the variable name. So I think that's all. All this all what we did today, we had taught it earlier, or I had said about it earlier. And any new thing that is there was one new thing that I said even yesterday, even last class on Wednesday, but I decided to say it again today. Was the traits, the functions, the traits, and how traits works, and the implementation. So although we are still going to say it again, maybe we start writing actual code in our VS code. And I hope your VS code is ready and your Cairo one is in synchrony, is synced with your Scarb. But most times when you're coding your VS code now, you will not see all these auto suggestions, highlighting, and the rest. So if you have issues with that, you can come and troubleshoot. So and because I didn't finish this class, it should take another 1 hour, I think. But as I didn't finish it, I don't know class to round up. If you guys want. So that's it.
Sorry, please. Is there a link to download the? I'm asking if there's a link to download the Cairo and Scarb. Yes, I've not gotten it.
Just
I've gotten it.
I don't know. You asked the question. I didn't get you well.
Hello. It's like the instructor left the call. Hello? Sorry, Eddie, right? Can you hear me?
Problem.
Hello?
Not much, man. The class don't finish.
Yeah, like
Wait, the cat.
he left the call something.
How?
I beg, I want to ask. Wait, is this stuff
His
still
network.
recording?
Oh, you
It's
should be recording now.
supported.
Huh? Is this for still on live on YouTube or those platforms?
It's on YouTube now. It's okay. It's out. It's out.